Long live South Sudan, long live basketball team, and thank you for putting our name again in the map and introducing South Sudan to people who don't know South Sudan. I'm here to address some few things that is making our economy not to grow. Mr. President, it's not the Minister of Finance that is the problem, but it's the system that is the problem. One is the money that is being borrowed. Instead of investing that money into factories, investing that money in agriculture, investing that money in infrastructure, investing that money into creating jobs for the youth, getting youth loans, giving youth money, capital, getting capital for the youth to be able to be useful in this country. That money comes, go into the pocket of the people who bring that money, go into the pocket of the government employees in the name of the contracts that are being awarded by the government, go back to the government employees. They create companies and that money go to them. They are the one who run the same money that is being brought in the name of supporting South Sudan. Another thing is graduating thousands of students from different universities in South Sudan, not thinking where they are going to invest the same knowledge that you give them or creating jobs for them. We are having a lot of youths who have very good documents but no jobs, and they are being useful on social media, creating accounts that they put naked pictures and sex videos and to destroy themselves. And that they are doing that because they have nothing to do, they don't have jobs. Another thing is putting a lot of money in, investing a lot of money in your children, the government children, the government employees' children, and they buy cars and then they go to other countries touring the world. These are people that will never help this country. Show me government officials that have their children in South Sudan. No, their children are all over the world. They are not in South Sudan. Why? Because they are not, their parents are getting money for them. The people who are suffering are the children of the pastors, are the children of the teachers, are the children of the soldiers. You can name them. Another problem that is not heavy is the government officials buying cars that is not helping us. Who said that a government official cannot use simple cars? Who are you protecting yourself from us, having thousands of cars in the name of your security and everything? We are not here to harm anybody. You are here to serve us, and we are here to be served by you. So if you are afraid of us, then why are you serving us? Why are you there? So we are not here to harm anybody. Don't fear us. Those cars that you buy with a lot of resources, a lot of money, give this money in the name of loans to the youth. Let youth be useful in this country. Another problem, Mr. President, is we are having a lot of human resource in this country. A very good example is the soldiers who are in the cantonment site. They are there sitting doing nothing and they are crying every day that there's no food. But we have land in this country. Why are they not useful in agriculture? They can be used to cultivate their food. Another problem, Mr. President, is factories. We don't have factories in the country. Why are that money that is being borrowed not be put into invest? We should invest in factories. What are we producing in our country? Is it only oil? Another problem that we are having that is taking our economy down, Mr. President, is the youths are plenty. There are many in this country, but they are not being put to use. Instead, they are being killed in case they say their problem. They are being tortured. There is no freedom of speech. They are not saying anything. Some other problems again, Mr. President, is the government employees your employees, the people that you appoint, instead of investing their money that they steal in the country, they go buy mansions all over the world. They buy mansions worth millions and billions of dollars. When we, the South Sudanese, are suffering, let them invest in the country. We know very well that politics is not a game for newcomers. We have accepted that. But let them invest in this country. Why are they running government offices like their homes? They're like their private companies. Another issue is the audit. They are not being audited. The government institutions, they are not being audited. There's no accountability. They are not accountable to anybody. And this money that is being borrowed, Mr. President, will be paid back by us. Will be paid back by the next generation. Will be paid back by South Sudanese. But they are not being, that money is not being useful. We'll be very happy if we are paying loans that have been useful to us. If this loan can be useful in constructing roads and building factories to employ youth, which factories are we having? We are having alcohol. That is called Makwelwes. This Makwelwes alcohol is not helping us South Sudanese, Mr. President. It's very cheap and it's killing the youth because the youth are traumatized. The youth are affected with this crisis. The economy of this country is affecting the youth, Mr. President. Another issue is valuing foreigners more than South Sudanese, Mr. President. That thing is killing the South Sudanese youth. Another issue is we have government hospital that was put there to support the citizen of this country. Mr. President, medicines are expiring in the warehouse and South Sudanese are suffering in the states, Mr. President. Mr. President, the employees that are being employed in the Ministry of Health, in this department, Mr. President, check again. The doctors in the hospital, in our main hospital, have created again their own clinics, and they send the South Sudanese who are suffering, the South Sudanese who have no money to go and buy in their clinics, Mr. President. They give you a document prescribing the medicine and they send you to a specific clinic to go buy those medicine, Mr. President. Mr. President, your people are suffering. We know you are doing your part, but your people are suffering, Mr. President. Mr. President, the women in the road, the women on the street who are selling vegetables, who are selling onions, who are selling all these things, nobody is prioritizing them, Mr. President. These women need loans. They need money. They need support, Mr. President. Instead of them being supported, the little they get, the city council go and take the little they have, Mr. President. And these are the people that are contributing little money in this country. They are contributing to the economy, Mr. President, because they are paying tax. Another issue, Mr. President, is why are we not creating loans for the youths, Mr. President? Mr. President, I'm also asking the institutions that are registering companies, Mr. President, let them also restrict. Let them have a priorities whereby people can have. Let them have a guidelines of the people to create companies, Mr. President. If somebody is creating, if there's too much companies for oil and gas, then let them also come out and tell us now this is time for people to invest in agriculture, for people to create loans, for people to create companies. We have a lot of Gamarabic in this country, Mr. President. But are we making good use of it? Of course, no. We are not making good use of it. All these things, Mr. President, I'm coming to say them. There are many more. The problem is not the Minister of Finance, Mr. President, but the problem is us. The president is the government institution. The president are the challenges. The problem are the challenges that we're having in the country, Mr. President. Let's check again. Let's clean our house. Before we go, we start small. We start by sweeping the problems that we have underground. The fish that is being eaten, Mr. President, in the hotels come from Uganda, come from other countries, and we have a lot of fish in South Sudan. Another issue is for me to show you that this country is being run by foreigners. Mr. President, let me ask you, have you ever tried to ask what's happening in case it's Muslim holiday? All the shops, all the markets are closed. Why? Because they are the people who do what? Who run the economy of this country. And that money is not being invested in South Sudan. They get that money and they send it out South Sudan. And the South Sudanese themselves, they get the money and they send out to the other country. A question I always ask myself, and I'm asking South Sudanese. Do we have another country that we South Sudanese will go to? Or this is the country that God gave us? Is South Sudan our country? And if South Sudan our country, each individual should think on how to build this country. Mr. President, this is our country. We love this country, and we know you are doing your best, because running people like South Sudanese is not easy. But continue and do more work. Do your part. Bring people who are ready to support this country, not people who are ready to loot, Mr. President. Long live South Sudan. Long live basketball. And thank you to the youth of this country, because it's not easy to be in this country, in this crisis time. Thank you.